Almost a week into the state's flood crisis, thousands of residents still can't get home. Many don't have enough food, clean water or other basic supplies. That's despite an army of volunteers doing their best to bring relief to devastated communities. Whan Moree travelled to North Richmond on the outskirts of Sydney to meet those doing it tough.
The sun's shining, but swathes of Sydney are still swamped. Street after street is submerged. Bridges built to withstand floods collect debris, and islands of junk are forming. Above the destruction, there's a huge operation, resupplying isolated residents so they can survive the crisis. The only way to reach North Richmond is by helicopter or boat.
Oh, my babies.
On the ground, we meet Stacey, Gosper and her kids. They've just been reunited after almost a week apart.
It's hard to talk to them over the phone, knowing that I couldn't hold them. That made it really hard.
Despite their struggles, people are pitching in to help others however they can.
Now we're moving into a phase where families are isolated. They're getting hungry, there's no food.
It's a similar story in the supermarket. Supplies are scarce on the shelves. The local butcher is working 20 hours a day to meet demand.
It's been hard, even like for my family. I've had to palm my kids off because there's been no school and just work full time.
Paramedics have been stretched too. Many patients have to be choppered out, including several pregnant women.
They were working under really challenging conditions, trying to cope with patients that should have been in hospital, and on those first couple of days it was horrendous.
Across the state, 20,000 residents are still out of home, but 3,000 have been allowed to return.
Complacency is a concern for us. We need to make sure that everybody stays out of floodwaters. The currents are very strong, the flows are still very strong.
Many here in the flood zone are just focused on getting through the next couple of days, securing their supplies and staying dry. When the water finally goes down, they can then assess the damage. Locals know there's still a long road to recovery. Daniel Saliba's got 60 hectares to mop up. His family's turf farm has been ruined.
I've never seen nothing like it. It breaks your heart.
But not their spirit. Whan Moree, ABC News, Sydney.
Friends of a young man who died in floodwaters northwest of Sydney say he'd been excited about starting his new job as a truck driver. International student Ayaz Yunus was on his way to work when he became trapped in his car early yesterday morning. He's been remembered by friends as humble, hardworking and caring.
Ayaz Yunus had worked hard to get his dream job as a truck driver.
He was very excited in the morning. So finally, today I got my job.
It would be the last time his housemate would see him alive. The 25-year-old was driving in Glenorrhea early yesterday morning when his hire car became trapped in floodwaters on Cat-Eye Ridge Road. At 6:20 a.m, he called 000 for help, staying on the phone with the emergency operator for more than half an hour before they lost contact. Police arrived on the scene shortly after, but were unable to find the car. His body was recovered in the afternoon.
My leg was shaking at that time. It was even hard to stand.
When the news was confirmed, I was totally shocked, and there was no energy in my body. I was unable to stand.
Ayaz had lived in Western Sydney for nearly 2 years. The software engineer graduate would send whatever money he made here to support his parents and siblings back home in Pakistan.
He was really a very nice, humble and kind to everyone. He was also hardworking and helping. He was like a brother to me, and we were just living like a family.
He was also an active member in the local Muslim community, often helping out at charity events.
Everybody's devastated. Our community is a very tight-knit community. Ayaz was one of those people. From day one, he had a smile on his face when he came to my office.
Ayaz would regularly come here to pray, and now the local Muslim community is providing support to his grieving family back home. Preparations are underway to return his body back to his hometown of Karachi. Lydia, Feng, ABC News, Sydney.
After the floods, inevitably, comes the difficult job of cleaning up the mess left behind. In some areas across the state, that's already started. Residents say the daunting task has been made a lot easier by the unexpected kindness of strangers.
The water came in fast, but the clean-up will be lengthy. This Port Macquarie backyard is now covered by a thick layer of sludge.
Tough, it's hard, it's big, it's horrendous.
Piles of destroyed belongings line the streets, but the community spirit is shining through.
It's amazing, the people who have come to help, it's just, makes you realise that it's just tough, we're still alive and people care.
The Clarence River is on its way down, but not before claiming the village of Harwood.
It'll take a few days probably for it to subside, and then the clean-up, it'll be the smell that it always leaves.
Inland areas are also inundated. Moree remains cut in two tonight after the Mckay River peaked this morning. For many, it had been a sleepless night.
It was rising probably nearly a foot every couple of hours towards the end.
With major roads into the town still cut off, supplies are being flown in to isolated residents.
Every shelf in Woolies or Coles is just about empty.
Dozens of rescues have been carried out. 3 people were even helped out of a sinkhole that opened up in Moree late last night.
We have not seen any lives lost or any significant harm in the Moree area at this point in time.
A community that's no stranger to weathering droughts and now flooding rains. Amelia, Bernasconi, ABC News.